All right, so today we have Cassidy, and I am just really excited to get started because we're going to review her website, and I think she's crushed it. So my comments are pretty minor, but it'll be good to go over everything. And so I guess I wanted to let you go ahead and start so I can hear from you kind of, what your experience has been so far, how it was building your website, things that were difficult, things that were exciting. And yeah, just give you a chance to kind of share with me where your head's at before we get going.
Yeah, so my name's Cassidy. I actually just started this course about 3 weeks ago. Prior to the
Whoa.
course, I knew little to nothing about copywriting. And everything I've done so far and just how much I've grown in the past 3 weeks is really all due to Sarah and her course. So making my website was really nerve-wracking. I'll say it's honestly been like the biggest roadblock for me so far,
Okay.
because as a consumer, I'm very critical of other people's websites. So
Mhm.
first of all, if a business doesn't even have a website, I immediately discredit them, and they're kind of out of sight, out of mind. But then too, like, I want someone's website who's really easy to navigate, and I want them to feel like they're speaking to me as the consumer. So those are all kind of things I had in mind as I was making my website. And for me personally, I think I put so much pressure on myself to feel like I was talking directly to the people in my niche that it probably took me way longer to write the content for my website than it should have.
How
Um,
long did it take you?
I probably worked on it for, I don't know, at least 15 hours.
That's,
Like,
but still to put together a whole website in 15 hours is pretty dang good. Because
oh
did you
yeah.
have experience like playing with, would you do it on Squarespace or?
I did do it in Squarespace. So a few years ago, probably 5 years ago, when I was an undergrad, I actually had to build a website as part of my portfolio for my major. I was a public relations major at the time, and I
Okay.
built it in Wix. And for me, Wix was so confusing. It's just my own personal experience. It was so confusing to figure out that going from that to Squarespace, I was like, why did I not do this back in
Mm-hmm.
undergrad? It was a lot easier to
Mm-hmm.
understand.
I
Just
had the same experience going from WordPress to Squarespace. I practically cried when I built a Squarespace website after dealing with WordPress for so long.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, Squarespace does a really good job of making the whole interface very user friendly.
Hmm. Yeah, so keep telling me about it. So it took you 15 hours, and I think that's pretty good, honestly. I know it probably felt like a lot and was super just, it can get really frustrating. Did you ever have to take a break or walk away or?
Oh yeah, I did it for 15 hours, but it was definitely over the course of like a week.
Yeah.
And if I were to show you the Google Doc of just like the millions of ideas that were running through my mind. I mean, I would have an idea, jot it down, go to the next line, have a completely different idea. And then I would read back through my Google Doc where I was like writing the content for my website, and none of it made any sense whatsoever. Like, I was jumping from one random thing to the next. So really, I just got all of my ideas down and then tried to piece together what made the most logical sense. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much what ended up on my website.
It is so good. So I'm super excited to dive into it. So before we get started on that, actually, why don't you bring me up to speed on your niche?
Yeah, so I'm in the personal finance niche.
Okay.
Um, I chose that niche for a few different reasons. So I do have a background in business. I did get a master's in business administration. No, you're not supposed
Mhm.
to focus on that too much, but also personal finance. I mean, I have always been passionate about it. When I graduated from the MBA program, I had $18,000 in student debt, and even though, I mean, that's probably not nearly as bad as some other people, I just felt really crippled, like, by the amount of debt I had.
Mhm.
So my husband and I, we made a plan to really work toward our debt and try to pay it off as quick as possible. So
Mhm.
through that, we found some really good like programs to help us budget and everything, read a lot of books, and like really just became super interested in the whole world of personal finance. So that's kind of what got me interested in the niche. And it really is the only thing that like I want to read every article I come across about personal finance. I want to read every book I can about personal finance, and
Oh,
it doesn't
interesting. Yeah.
feel like I'm having to do work. So for me, whenever it came time for us to pick our niche, it just made perfect sense for me.
Wow, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. So then who is your ideal client? Who are you imagining?
So that is actually something I'm struggling with.
Hmm.
Because for me, I feel like personal finance, it seems so broad, and the only actual person that I can like kind of personify as a person in my niche is like a financial advisor. And
Right. That's what I thought from reading your
yeah,
website. Okay.
and to me, like, I think my niche is much more than that. Like, I could see myself writing for like a bank's website, or just like some really
Mhm.
big blog like NerdWallet or something, where people are given financial advice. But it's hard for me to attribute like a physical person to those websites. So I think that was kind of why it was a
Well,
little bit
businesses can
hard.
be an ideal client. So it doesn't have to
Yeah,
be an individual. Like that could be banks could be it. And it might be a
I've
little easier to start out with some financial advisors just because you can start, from the bottom, maybe somebody who looks like they have a small firm or they're just themselves, which will be an easier way in, right? And then get bigger
yeah.
and bigger. Yeah. Um, okay. I'm just like writing down some thoughts. That's awesome. I want to throw out, like, I don't want to overwhelm you because we are talking about your website today, but just like immediately some things that come to mind, because something I've noticed about copywriting and why I get so excited about it is because it really can become a jumping off point for like a much bigger life goal, right? So many copywriters start out as copywriters and then they go on to just be thought leaders, like Maria
Mm-hmm.
Forleo. I always give her as an example because that's like just a perfect example of that. And I just feel like this could be something like, again, I don't want to overwhelm you, but like just talking to you, you sound like someone who eventually, like, this copywriting thing could eventually become much bigger and you could be just not just, but a thought leader in the finance like industry. Like it is a very real
Yeah,
possibility for you.
thank
So
you. That would be awesome.
yeah, that like comes to mind immediately. And I plan actually to not only add like continuing education to the Write Your Way to Freedom course, especially as people like you start getting further and further along,
Mm-hmm.
which will be like practicing copywriting techniques and something like that. But something I'm experimenting with right now is actually reaching out to publications so that I can get some of my work, my own byline on work. Like I've been reaching
Yeah.
out to Business Insider and things like that and going through the whole pitch process. And again, that's something like way down the road after you've got some clients and you're feeling good that I just feel like could be a real option for you. I don't know if that interests you at all, but it definitely popped in my mind. I was like,
Yeah,
huh?
it definitely interests me. Thank you. That is a huge compliment.
Yeah, no, like for sure. It is definitely, when I saw your website, I was like, oh my gosh, you nailed it. So, like I said, we can jump right in, but definitely my comments are pretty minor. One question I actually did have looking at it is that do you have a keyword? Did you do any keyword research or try and figure out what people might be putting into Google to come across your website?
I actually didn't. Like, I've just Googled so much about personal finance myself that I tried to think back to those times and try to jot down what questions I was asking the most. Um,
Okay.
I did try to set up a Google AdWords account. I need to continue looking into that. I don't think I did it quite right. So that's also on my short list of things to do, just so I can, start looking at some of those keywords.
Yeah. So then that would be my first piece of advice. And again, first of all, you have a website that is like ready to go, in my opinion. Like you are ready to start cold emailing, you're ready to start reaching out to people and like taking on clients. To also, because it's great to work on things simultaneously and also get some income coming in, right?
Yeah.
But something I would definitely work on adding to your website, because that was something I couldn't see. So I was wondering if you had incorporated SEO throughout. I kind of suspected you hadn't. Um, Basically, you just want to think like, and maybe you'll have a better idea later on, right? As you start talking to ideal clients and things like that. Like websites are a work in progress. I'm constantly rereading, not constantly, but as time has gone on, it's less and less. I'm rereading my website, like looking back over it and being like, oh, I kind of want to like tweak this. So definitely keep that in mind. Obviously, right when you do all the heavy lifting on your website, it can be a good idea to actually just take a break and walk away. Because I'm sure you're like, I don't know. Sometimes if you look at things too long, you just want to like crumple it up and like throw it away. You're like, oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
So definitely don't like take all of this in right now necessarily, but so I would definitely recommend thinking about what would somebody type into Google to find me. Like, so imagine your ideal client sitting down and being like, okay, I know that I need to hire somebody to write my website better, or I know I need somebody to write some blogs and emails for me. What would they type into Google to actually show up on your website, and then work to incorporate that
Okay.
throughout your website? Because that will honestly, I don't, have you done searches to try and find copywriters in your niche and looked at their websites?
Yeah, I found a few. They're honestly a little hard to find, but I do have some bookmarked on my computer.
That is exactly what I suspected when you said they were a little hard to find. Because funny enough, even though the copywriters should know, be the people in the world who know how to do this the best, they are still somehow like the worst, which just blows my mind. I'm like, really? You're a copywriter. Like, you should know better.
Yeah.
But I suspected that there are very few people showing up on whatever your keyword is. Let's just call it, um, let's call it like financial advisor copywriter, right? Because maybe that's like what they would type in. I think that might be a good one. So your financial advisor is sitting there and they're like, oh, I got to get better clients. And they type in financial advisor copywriter. And I just suspect that like no one is showing up. And the
Yeah.
comment, maybe there's one, right? And so as soon as you start like honing in on that, whatever that keyword is, you're going to be number one. I mean, it took me less than a year to show up as number one for medical copywriter. And like you would think, with the health and wellness niche being as big as it is, like how am I I just was blown away. I was like, how am I number one for medical copywriter like 6 months into implementing SEO into my website? Like it's crazy how powerful it is. So that would be my number one piece of advice for you. It would be to just
Okay.
do some keyword research, figure out what you want to capture. And again, it's like not, there's no right or wrong answer, and you might tweak it later on. Um, Definitely though, incorporate that. So the next thing I was going to do is actually go through, do you have your website pulled up?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to take a sip of water, and then, so I wanted to go through actually kind of like line by line, because you did such a great job that all my, comments are pretty minor actually. So first of all, I want to comment on your design. Design is something that your design is excellent. It communicates, it's simple, it's elegant, it's clean, it's timeless. And honestly, like you come to this website and you think that you're expensive, which is a good thing. Like
Yeah.
somebody should come to your website and think, oh, wow, she's got her shit together. She is expensive, because you want to start them out up there. You don't want to start them out thinking she's cheap. You chose very clean, minimalist fonts, which I love. And hey, and anytime you want to jump in, like totally cut me off and tell
Okay.
me like, your thought process and stuff like that. Because I really just like love your design. So anything you have to comment on that, I'd love to hear from you on that.
Yeah, so for me, there were like a few key things I wanted with my website. The first thing is I really love how the picture goes behind the navigation bar. And I know that's a very minor thing, but it was like on the top of my list. Like I really wanted to find a template in Squarespace that allowed you to have the picture be full screen, full bleed, edge to edge. So that was one big thing I was looking for. And then also I wanted to be able to scroll all the way down and kind
Mhm.
of like have every single page anchored on one full page, just
Yeah.
because I kind of don't like the idea of having one really short page and then forcing the viewer to go back up to the top or wherever to click on a new tab. Um,
Agreed. I think that's a great layout because honestly, at the end of the day, our websites should not be that complex as copywriters, right? There's really not a lot of stuff that needs to go on there. So I noticed that immediately and loved it. So anything else you want to add about design?
No, I actually didn't change the fonts or anything. Once you post the video, I can go back and find exactly what template I used in Squarespace. I can't think
Oh,
off the top of my head, but I'm just using the default fonts that came with the template I use. So I
so
really didn't
you
change.
looked for something that had like everything on one page had high end looking fonts or clean fonts. Is that what you did?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
My personality is like very clean and simple, like kind of borderline, like the whole minimalist thing. So
Mhm.
I really wanted my website to reflect that.
Cool. I think you did a great job doing that. So, yeah. Anyway, so then also going through your copy right away, I love how you first it's so great. You just hit the nail on the head. I can't say that enough. One of the things I noticed is immediately like the first few sentences, you really you address your ideal client's pain points right away. You use their lingo, but you use their lingo in how it reflects on what you're going to offer them, which I loved. You say, it's time to see a return on your investment, right? And I
Yeah.
think it would even be a good thing maybe to emphasize like the your, because it's
Mm,
so much of what they do is work on other people's ROI, right? And so you're sitting here and you're saying, you know what, let's time to like turn that focus on you. And I just like
yeah.
love that. Um, so you're doing things like subtly right away. You're using their lingo. So they're like, okay, she speaks our language. You're establishing yourself as somebody who knows the industry really well. So that's fantastic. And then I'm just going to kind of go through like line by line and add a few things. Um, the truth, the truth is you work hard. You spend your days helping people reach their goals, retirement goals, savings goals, all types of goals. It's time someone helps you reach your goals. I love that.
Thank you.
Um, so actually, I'm just going to read through the whole thing and then come back. Your goal, okay. The truth is you work hard. You spend your days helping people reach their goals, retirement goals, savings goals, all types of goals. It's time someone else helps you reach your goals. Your goal is to expand your business and attract new customers, to gain loyal customers who see you as an authoritative voice in the personal finance space. But your plate is already so full. This is like already so conversational and reads so out loud so well, which is why I wanted to read it out loud. So I just wanted to point that out. At the end of the day, there's just not enough time to dedicate to your long-term marketing strategy. But with the right long-term marketing strategy, you can become an industry leader in the personal finance space, build trust and attract new customers, gain exposure and grow your business. That's where I come in. Hi, I'm Cassidy, an expert personal finance copywriter. I give your products and services a voice that empowers people to take control of their finances. I wow your customers with words that aren't dull, dry, or downright boring. I make sure your content is always backed by solid research and is written in a tone that engages readers and turns them into customers. When you work with me, you get articles backed by solid research in the industry, search engine optimization so it's easy for customers to find you online, ideas for new content based in your target audience, formatting and editing so your work is error-free and ready to go. Ready to talk strategy and finally see a return on your investment? Schedule a 15-minute consultation today. Okay, so the fact that I have only read this one time, this was my second time reading it, and could read it through like that without like any stuttering or like awkward, places, just speaks volumes about how well written this is. So, yay! I just want to celebrate that. So then all my comments are small. So it's time someone helps you reach your goals. At this point, you might want to actually elaborate a little bit more on their goals. You do say your goal is to expand your business and attract new customers, to gain loyal customers who see you as an authoritative voice in the personal finance space. So Definitely, I think their goal, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is my guess about financial advisors. So if your goal is to expand your business and attract new customers, I would maybe say high-end customers,
Okay.
because one thing I'm guessing is that there are probably people who are more ideal clients for them, basically, like what we're talking about. So maybe it's high-end customers, maybe it's better educated customers, maybe you need to figure out exactly what that word is, but how can you describe their customer so that it's more specific? Um, and then to gain loyal customers who see you as an authoritative voice in the personal finance space, you might want to do a little research. So one, yes, on that one, but you might want to add to their goals. Um, you might want to do a little research and see, like, how do financial advisors typically find new clients? And my understanding, so actually my dad is a financial advisor.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I'm like, I know a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from my understanding, most of them find clients through word of mouth. Is that your understanding, or?
That is my understanding as well.
So maybe this is a good point to say, one, dig a little bit deeper into their goals and see if you can really find more, like more goals. Like maybe somebody's goal is to have more time. Maybe somebody's goal is to spend less time looking for new clients. If they're still looking for new clients, they're probably a little less established. So just keep
Mhm.
that in mind. Um, and then, yeah, just anywhere you can add details in this whole goal thing, because the goal thing right here and your copy, I think should be a little bit more robust. And
Yeah.
then I think it might be a good idea to explain, like, why would they want an authoritative voice? Because to me, if they are a thought leader, which you go into down there, or have an authoritative voice, or offer their customers and clients a wealth of information, they are never going to be looking for clients again. They're going to have people like banging down their door, right? They're going to have a line. Maybe you paint a picture and you say there's going to be a line of a waiting list. Maybe maybe they're going to be able to expand their practice. I don't even know what it's called, their
Yeah.
office. Um, maybe they, yeah, again, and then also really identifying, like, what does their customer look like? Um, yeah, so that was one of my thoughts. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I was going to say that's really great advice because after I finished writing everything and kind of published the website, I still felt to an extent that I wasn't specific enough. Like I wasn't,
Mhm.
in your words, robust enough. So that's all really great advice that I will definitely start working on today. So
Yeah,
thank
definitely. Yeah. And again, no rush. Like, I think your website is ready to go for cold emailing, but it's just something to think about. Really, you know what I would do? So this is another thing I recommend a lot is I would try and find some financial advisor Facebook groups and join them.
Yeah.
So find out where they're hanging out online and getting advice from one another, because there is a place. Or maybe it's a forum, and maybe this is later down the road, but maybe there's some sort of subscription based community or newsletter, like, like go at it as if you're a financial advisor yourself. Like, where would you be looking for solutions? And if you start showing up in groups where financial advisors, let's say it's a Facebook group where financial advisors are talking about, like, I don't know, marketing or client acquisition, and you hop in there and you start like offering advice and becoming like somebody who understands the business of running a business of personal finance, like you're going to start creating a name for yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you'll also see, like, what are they talking about? Like, what is hard for them? What's frustrating them? If you know any financial advisors, like, I would say, hey, can I like buy you coffee, or can I just like grab 15 minutes of your time and like ask you about like what your most frustrating parts of your like day are? So just something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, so getting specific about their their clients and what they look like, getting specific about what being an industry leader or a thought leader actually gives them. And also, I think it would be kind of good to say something along the lines of like, hey, guess what? Marketing, like if you're not online, like what are you doing? What are you doing? You're missing out on basically a world of people that you could be putting yourself in front of, where you could be offering advice, you could be establishing yourself as a thought leader. Maybe one day, like down the road, that sets you up to write a book, and you already have people who want to know what your thoughts are. Yeah, so really saying, kind of playing on the thing like, ooh, are you not like investing in marketing? Like that's a mistake. And the other thing about personal finance, especially with regards to copywriting and having consistent work, is saying like, if you're a personal finance and you're doing Google AdWords, for example, and you're just showing up like, yeah, sure, that's fantastic, but it would be such a better use of your marketing dollars to spend it on content creation. Because when you're creating content, you're creating value and you're creating people who like love you. So that's another thing that would be good to add.
Okay.
And also when you say that, like when you're like, you're not writing blogs, you're not sending out a newsletter, like you kind of make them feel like, oh crap, like oh no, like what does she know that I don't know? Like I want to schedule a call with her.
Yeah.
Um,
So going back to like the content I'd started writing in my Google Doc when I was making my website, I did have a blip about like, when's the last time you updated your website? Do you have a blog? Like different things like that. But I ended up not really running with it.
mhm.
So I may need to go back and kind of reevaluate some of that information.
Yeah. And like, I think the amount of content you have is like, I wouldn't go much longer.
Yeah.
So you're pretty good as far as length. So really just figuring out how to squeeze it in there. But I think there's so many ways to squeeze it in, right? Maybe you go like, maybe you say something like, it's time someone helps you reach your goals, whether your goals be bullet point, to expand your business, new bullet point, to attract high quality customers, new bullet point, to gain loyal followers, and the chance that you want to expand your, I don't know, you want to like write a book one day. You can put that like at the bottom probably because that's like a lower one.
Yeah.
Usually people are focused on right now. Maybe it's to have an authoritative voice in the personal finance space for respect. Maybe it's to create a wait list so that you have your pick of ideal customers, but your plate's already full at the end of the day. You don't have enough time to dedicate. Okay, this is my other comment. I would take out long-term
Okay.
marketing, because while it is the long-term thing, I just worry that it doesn't really add anything to your copy to say long-term marketing, but it might in the back of their mind be like, oh, this is like she's overwhelming me almost.
Yeah. Like too much work.
Yeah, like long-term, it is long-term, and like our financial advisors should know like the benefits of thinking long-term, obviously, like above more than most people, but I would just take it out.
Okay.
Let's see what other, I had a couple other notes long, and then, okay, so this is the other thing that I think is a good thing to think about. So not only at the end of the day is there not enough time for them to dedicate to their marketing strategy, but I would start also saying, I think that financial advisors will probably understand the importance of hiring an expert, right?
Yeah.
You're lucky that you're in a niche, I think, where these people understand that like it pays to have an expert doing the thing that they were meant to do, whether it's an attorney, financial advisor, a doctor, like they're going to understand the value of that. So that's where you position yourself as the expert. So you
Yeah.
say, at the end of the day, there's not enough time to dedicate to your marketing strategy. But let's be honest, you also don't really like, you're not the marketing expert. I mean, I wouldn't say that, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
add something to that line about, but you also understand the value of putting in place experts, um, who will bring maximum value to, you know what I mean? So like run with that idea.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. And then going through these bullets, become an industry leader in the personal finance space, I would definitely add something like, why would they want to be an industry leader? And build trust and attract new customers. Maybe even make that more specific and create an image. So if you're going to do bullets with the goals up top, and then you're going to have bullets down here, I would make one more visual, like have a waiting list of ideal clients, like ready to work with you. Oops.
Yeah.
And then in the other list, I would make it much more dry and like factual or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have like a contrast. One is like more emotion based and paints a picture. The next one is like, this is what you're going to get. Gain exposure and grow your business. So again, maybe elaborate on that either in the first set of bullets or the second. So then I'm Cassidy, personal finance copywriter. I give you products and services, a voice that empowers people to take control of their finances. So I would actually turn this sentence around a little bit, because at the end of the day, while they do want that for their people, they want to be the hero, right? So they want to be the one who's empowering people. And while you are saying that to some degree, I think you could probably position them more as a hero in that sentence. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
So give your products that empowers people to take the control of their finances. Because the way I read that, what my mind goes to is that your writing's going to be so amazing that they're going to take control of their finances and not need me.
Yeah, I do see how it could be interpreted that way.
Yeah. So if you could just find a way to like tweak the verbiage so that the financial advisor is the hero of that like line, I think it will just have a little bit more like power. Okay. And then I wow your customers with words that aren't dull, dry, or downright boring. I would say something more, this is great. I would maybe use something more specific than wow, and I would maybe start coming at it from an angle that says, I demystify the overwhelming process of finding a financial advisor. You know what I mean?
That is
Or
beautiful.
I make really complex financial scenarios easy to understand so that they immediately feel at ease coming to work with you. So just getting more specific, right?
Yeah.
And I make sure your content is always backed by solid research and written in a tone that engages readers and turns them into customers. Perfect. When you work with me, you get articles backed by solid research in the industry. Search engine optimization, so it's easy for customers to find you online. Ideas for new content based on your target marketing or target audience, formatting and editing so your work is error-free and ready to go. That's great. I would try and like see if you can make that list longer, even if it includes breaking things up, because again, just subtly, somebody's going to look at that and see 4 things. And I'm sure you can make those 4 things like 8 things.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then they look at it and they're like, whoa, they get all of that when I work with you.
Yeah. So much for my money.
Huh?
I said they get so much for their money.
Yeah, no, exactly. So really like, I just make that more bullets. And you can look at my website. I mean, that I know I really worked hard on making those bullets. Like I kind of like dragged them out. I was like,
yeah, no,
like
actually
formatting and editing right away. That's 2 bullets. Formatting so you don't like miss out on readers who skim. Editing so that you know your work is error free and ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I did have your website pulled up pretty much the whole time I was working on mine.
Good.
Really
But
good.
and then your about me is like such a slam dunk. I don't even know if I have very many comments on that section. I just love how I mean, you can play up your MBA. Like what I wanted to focus on when people were getting started in Write Your Way to Freedom is that people tend to talk about themselves so much. And as a copywriter, your job is literally to put yourself in other people's shoes and talk to them about their problems. And so I just was constantly trying to like battle most people's tendencies. But since you like crushed that part of it, I think it's totally fine to like, you know, play up your successes and say, I graduated with an MBA, blah, 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 and get a little bit more specific about stuff like that. Like, don't be afraid to talk about that because it's huge and it adds a lot of credibility. So yeah,
Okay.
get comfortable. You can definitely say like, talk about more of your successes, especially because you are in the personal finance industry. So people are going to want to, like, the fact that you have an MBA is huge.
Yeah,
So.
I should have added this earlier, but I actually got an MBA because one of the career paths I thought about doing was like that of a financial advisor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of did that right after undergrad, like just in case I did want to go on to be a financial advisor. So just to see all of this like kind of come 360, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, so definitely add that in because that's what I talk about, I think, on my website. Is I actually went to school pre-med because I thought I wanted to be a doctor. And then I just was like, ugh, I do not want to be prescribing medicine. I just saw so quickly it was like not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And so, but I still have that passion. Now I write for doctors, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so I would like play that up. People love a story. Your story is amazing. Um, and then, yeah, cause then you can be like, I was on track to be a personal or to be a financial advisor, and then maybe come up with a reason like why you didn't. Maybe you just want to, I don't know. You'd have to play with that because it's a personal thing, but like, why
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to be a personal or a financial advisor and instead be a copywriter for financial advisors? Maybe because you want to like spread quality information, right? And that
Yeah.
was like more important to you or something.
Yeah. That's really good. I think I found that personal advising or financial advising, the laws involve so much in that, and I just like all of those little technicalities of everything. I don't know. I think in the end, I didn't want to be responsible for someone's money.
Yeah, no, it's a scary world.
Yeah. So the fact that your dad is doing it, kudos to him.
Yeah, he's been doing it forever. He's so like old school. Yeah. But yeah, I just think this is great. That yeah, your about me is great. Definitely play up your personal bit. Um and because I think you did a good job of addressing their needs first and foremost, and most people miss that, which is why I like harp on it so hard.
Yeah.
And then your services and rates, I think, are a great starting point. I think you're going to find that you can increase pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, but go ahead and start there. It'll feel good, I think, to just, get some clients under your belt. One of the things that, yeah, just make sure, and I know you're good at this, just make sure you have like your financial goals with copywriting in front of you, and you're making sure that you're meeting them. But as you like, if you get 5 clients like right away, you're too cheap.
Okay.
If it like comes as a breeze to you, like you need to start raising your prices. So just keep that in mind, because one thing that can happen, because I just think that your rates are like, they're great for starting, but you're really going to want to raise them like pretty quickly is my best guess. So yeah, I don't want you to like start to take on 10 clients and be like, crap, like I could have charged $200 a blog and have less clients and be working less. You know what I mean? So just
Yeah.
keep an eye on that as you start to like get more and more clients, because you can very quickly go to your website and up those prices in 1 second.
That's true.
And it takes no time at all to do that. But also, I would take out ghostwriting, because ghostwriting is it's part of what you do. When you're copywriting, your name is not going on this. So ghostwriting is not really, I mean, it's just like part of of your writing. You're not going to have your name on it, which is why I want to potentially add to the course about like getting publications with your name on it.
Okay.
So, and then I think just personal advice, our recommendations, I really think that blogs and emails are going to be huge for you, and website content actually. So, so yeah, these are definitely the 3 things I would have on your website. And yeah, I think that's going to be huge. And I think you should say web page content starting at $2,000.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Because, okay, so this is the thing. So one, it's going to completely depend on how many pages they need, right?
Yeah.
But there is some psychology to when people, first of all, financial advisors are charging, you know what I mean? Like $1,000 is not going to be a lot for them.
Yeah.
As long as they know the value is there, like that's going to be doable for a financial advisor to pay you $2,000 to write their website. So there's that. But also when people come to your services and rates, it's a good thing for you to start high, like $2,000, because then everything like that's, you know, as you decrease, it seems like a relief. They're like, oh, 150 for a blog, that's nothing. So you want to start high so people are like, whoa, she's expensive and worth it. It communicates to them that you are, you know, good at what you do. And I just think $1,000 is not enough.
Okay.
Especially because people are going to start like, yeah, most websites are going to be like 5 pages at least and require a lot more research. And yeah,
Okay.
it's just a little copywriting technique. Ready to discuss how your content can be your biggest return on investment. Let's do this. I have a really I would take out that I have a really quick response time. Try me.
Okay.
I just think everything else sounds so confident, and that one's a little bit more like, please pick me.
Yeah, I can see that.
But that's it. This is so good.
Thank you.
I'm giving you like a virtual hug.
I feel it. I feel it through
I'm so excited. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't think so. I guess one kind of small question would be like throughout my website, I do have schedule a 15-minute consultation written in a few different places. In the beginning, when you were getting new clients, did you usually like kind of start things via the phone, or was it ever just via email?
So sometimes it was just through email.
Okay.
But a lot of times people want to just like hear your voice that first time they get started. And also you want to hear their voice because you want to hear what they have to say, how they talk about things. That's going to be a really big clue for you as to how you can make it specific to them.
Okay.
So another thing you actually might want to add to your website is maybe, actually this is for sure, I think under your first schedule a 15-minute consultation, briefly say what's going to happen there. You know, just say, I'm going to figure out your goals, your goals, your pain points, your whatever. I'm going to then come up with a customized plan specifically for you. And really they're going to end up all being pretty much the same. But at the end of the day, like the 15-minute consultation is for them to get a feel for who you are and how you are and make sure that you're a real human. And then so I know it's really intimidating it was so scary for me. I mean, it's scary at first because you're like getting on the phone with somebody and you feel like you're just starting out at this. I mean, you've been in the course 3 weeks, like how could I possibly answer questions? But the great thing about being a copywriter is when you get on the phone with them, your job is to figure them out. So you should be asking all the questions. It's not a job interview, right? So like you hop on the phone with them, and if they start like trying to be like, oh, prove yourself to me, you're just like, hey, no, actually as a copywriter, it's my job to understand you and your business. So I'd love it if you could talk to me like your sister who doesn't really understand what you do when you go to work every day. Because that's how I'm going to pick up on your lingo. It's how I'm going to make your content sound specifically like you. right? So again, it's this whole idea of like turning it back on them, which is your job, but it also takes the focus off you. So, which is nice because you're like not being like, you know, hammered with questions. And it works because people really like to talk about themselves. So you kind of only have to do it a few times and they'll just start running with it. But yeah, so that's really all it is to put down some ideas. One of the reasons I wanted to record this call was not only to share it with a group, thank you so much, because I think this is really going to help everyone, but this is what I do when I get on the phone with somebody and we're having a more in-depth conversation about their work. So I wouldn't do it on the first one because it would probably freak them out if I was like, hey, let's get on a call, I'm going to record it. But after that first 15-minute consultation, and also I frame it like, hey, this is just a time to see if we're a good fit. Like I have just as much say in hiring you or working with you as you do in hiring me. Yeah. So if they start to get into like serious detail, I just say, oh my gosh, this is so awesome and helpful. Let me send you a proposal so we can actually like dig deeper. And then I'd love to schedule a longer call with you where we can get into all the like nitty gritty, and I'm going to record it because when I record it, I can go back and visit it as I'm writing and I can make sure I pick up on like your little idiosyncrasies. And that really helps to have recordings. Yeah, as you'll see, because you'll be like, when you have a call like this where it's recorded, for example, you are able to just kind of relax and listen, knowing that you're going to have a recording of it later, right? You're not like frantically taking notes. Yeah. And then when you go back to like do your website, what I would do is I would just listen to it. And like, as I get to a piece, I'd hit pause, play with it, you know, listen a little bit more, play with it. And then that way you make sure you're like getting everything. So, yeah. So yeah, you're going to take calls. There's a lesson on that. And there's a whole pitch cheat sheet. Have you seen that yet?
Yes, I printed off the whole workbook, have it in a binder.
Oh my gosh, you're awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I would just have it open in front of you. I'm not going to lie, the first few phone calls, I created a cheat sheet like that, and it got more and more robust as I like did a few calls. But I was so nervous. I think I like blacked out. I was like, oh, I don't even know what I said. I have no idea what I said. It was so nerve-wracking. But it gets easier. Every time you do it, you're like, okay. And as long as you keep the focus on them, it's less scary. So
yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to see like what happens. And I think you're going to get clients really fast and you're going to be like, crap, I need to raise my rates. That's what I think. So
yeah, well, that is my goal this week, to start cold emailing and seeing what happens from there. So I will definitely keep you updated.
Yeah, for sure. Any more questions?
I think that is it on my end. Your time has been invaluable, so thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
Of course. This has been like fun. I love this. So yeah. I really, really do. Do you have any advice? What would you, as somebody who's now this far along, like looking back, any advice you give to other people in this process?
Honestly, my advice is just to keep pushing ahead. I'm currently reading The Slight Edge right now, which I am really enjoying so far, but it really just hits on, you know, like those little mundane actions done every day, how they really can add up to something great. And even though I've only been at this for a few weeks, I mean, I've set aside time every single day, even if it was just 30 minutes to work on the course, to work on my website, just to work on anything. And just to look back and see my progress so far, like it really has given me the momentum and the drive to just keep pushing forward.
Awesome.
So even if you don't feel like you're getting anywhere, just keep going, and I promise you'll look back in a few weeks and see that very far.
Yeah, it's so easy to forget how far you've come. I just like all the time, I'm like, oh my gosh, Sarah, chill out. Look back on those last 5 years. Like, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even like a month. 90 days. I think 90 days is a really good window. Like when you've been in this course for 90 days and you look back, I think you're going to be like, holy crap, like, whoa, so much has happened. So
Yeah, so that was actually one thing you said in your course that stuck out at me. So whenever it was time for me to write down my goals, I did it in the frame of this is where I want to be in 90 days. You know, like I see
yeah, that's a good
myself.
one. So
Yeah,
much can happen in 90 days. It feels so short because you're like 3 months, like whatever. But it really, I mean, 30 minutes a day for 90 days can take you so far in something. It's
yeah.
crazy. Yeah. Well, yay. Thank you. That was
You're
so
welcome.
fun.
Yes, it was. It was really great. And it was great talking to you.
Yeah, great talking to you. And I will send you this recording. And yeah, thanks. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.